Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you 10 book recs for Valentine's Day. So I picked out 5 romance books and 5 romantasies. I think we should start with the romance books. First, I chose Icebreaker. I'm pretty sure everyone and their mom read this book. It is one of my favorite books. It's a sports romance. She's an ice skater and he is a hockey player. It's a university romance, enemies to lovers. It's also dual POV, so the story follows Anastasia and Nate. She is basically very focused to get on the US team for ice skating, and Nate just wants to keep his team on the ice. And at the beginning of the book, what sets everything off is a little bit of a mishap with the facilities. Next, I picked Flawless by Elsie Silver. I read the entire Chestnut Springs series and it was such a good book series. If you don't know what this is about, her dad is his agent and he has this whole scandal going on and he has a very bad reputation. It's a small town romance. Obviously, I think everyone has read this book series, but if you have not, this is your sign to read it. It's a enemies to lovers forbidden romance because she is forced to work really close to him. Like, her dad makes her work very close with him to cover up his image and make his image better. You will read Flawless. You will want to read the rest of the books. My favorite of the series was Hopeless. It's the last book in the series and I think it's very underrated. The series is interconnected standalones, so you technically don't have to read Flawless, read like Powerless, which is the third book in the series. Next, if you want a little bit of a heartbreak, it's not that much of a romance book as I expected it when I first read it. I expected it to be a lot of romance and really fun and fashion and all that, but it's not. It's a very, very sad book. I think that it just like opens your mind about certain things and how some things can be in life. And even if you are rich and you have a lot of things, like, you can be extremely unhappy. This is so worth reading, and the way the romance is so twisted, it's amazing and I highly recommend it. Next, I chose another sports romance, but this is Collide by Bal Cabra. I'm not sure if I pronounced the author's name right. I'm so sorry if I botched it. I actually really love this book. The second book just came out. It's also interconnected standalones. I think this is so underrated on social media. Don't talk about it enough. It's also like forced proximity, enemies to lovers. She's sworn of dating any hockey players. Obviously, he is a hockey player that she has to do this project on because she is a sports psychology major. Such a good book. I think I said this about every single book that I've recommended so far, but that's true because obviously if I'm recommending them, they're good books. It's so worth reading if you have not read it already, and it does not get the recognition it deserves, honestly. And I'm so excited to read the second book. I currently don't have it because if you guys watched my last video when I did my January reading wrap up and my February TBR, I just want to finish my TBR and then get more books. Next, I think I chose one of the most underrated Ailey Hazelwood books, Love Theoretically. Everyone is saying that her books are all the same, but I personally feel like this one is the most, like, the one that is not as similar to the others. I don't really know how to say it. Like, it's so much different. She is a theoretical physicist and she's a professor by day, and then she fake dates people at night. And when she gets a job offer, her enemy, which is the opposite of what she is as a physicist, Jack Smith, which happens to be experimental physicist, so they do not get along and there's a lot of drama. Obviously, it's enemies to lovers, forced proximity because they have to kind of compete for a job, so it's also kind of like rivals. And I love how Ellie Hazelwood just writes women in STEM because I'm in an economics major. So move on to the romantasies. First one I pick is a very underrated book in my opinion, which is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is a Queen of Hearts retelling and basically how she came to be the Queen of Hearts, and I absolutely love what's written on the back, so I'm just gonna read it for you guys. Long before Alice fell down the rabbit hole and before the roses were painted red, the Queen of Hearts was just a girl in love for the first time. If that does not convince you to read this book, I don't know what will. I cried so much reading this book. It's a forbidden romance basically, and it's a lot of drama. I don't even know what to tell you guys without spoiling it, so just please read it. And I need to see more of this on TikTok because I'm not seeing enough. And also, did you guys know that the Queen of Hearts like loved baking? Like, I feel like that's such a fun thing that Marissa Meyer did in this book. Like, the queen's name is Catherine and she loved baking and she wanted her own bakery. She did not get her bakery. Do I even have to explain myself for picking this book as a February Valentine's Day romantasy recommendation? Like, do I really have to explain myself why I chose this? I mean, it's pretty obvious. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros is all over the internet, especially right now with the whole casting and the whole fan casting thing. If you don't know what it's about, the story follows Violet Sorrengail, which was supposed to go to the scribe quadrant, and her mom actually sent her to the writer's quadrant, which is the most dangerous out there, at the Basquiat War College. And basically the story follows her on her journey there and how her character develops into a very strong young woman, basically, not only with like physically but also her mind, because this girl is so smart in this book. Like, please, I want to be that smart. And I think everyone has seen at least a quote from this book or a Zayden Ryerson edit. Like, let's be honest, yeah, their dragons are mated, so that makes it like 10 times more fun. Next is Once Upon a Broken Heart, which again is pretty popular, but in the same time, like, I feel like it has times when it's very popular and then times when people really overlook it. And I feel like some people hate on it because Evangeline is not like one of those strong female main characters. She's more of on the softer side, like Elaine. And Elaine, people also hate on Elaine, which I think it's not right. Elaine is from the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. Daphne Garber writes such magical stories and such magical worlds. Like, you just want to keep reading them. Like how can you not read this book? It's full of fairy tales that I actually like, makes me believe in. Like, this is a fairy tale in its own way. Like, in the book they do have fairy tales, but for me, this is my fairy tale. This is the thing that keeps me going, you know. I also annotated the book, as you can see. Basically, it all starts when the love of her life betrays her in the worst way possible, and she thinks that he is cursed. So he goes to the Prince of Hearts, which you guys know if you have read Caraval, and makes a bargain with him, and that bargain is not really in her favor, and things kind of go downhill from there. So yeah, if you decide to read this book, you are in for a ride of literally every single feeling possible. Next is a very controversial book. Why? Because people are saying that it's a plagiarism of a book because the author Lauren Roberts copied Victoria Aveyard's Red Queen. I have not read it, so I'm not going to comment on anything about it, but I personally really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the story. I feel like the romance is really nicely written, and honestly, just like any kind of romance in a fantasy book, it's going to do it for me. Like, it's forbidden romance, it's enemies to lovers, it's whatever you want. The main character, she lives in the slums. She is one of the people that don't have powers, and obviously she is downgraded because of that. All the people that do have powers basically live at the court, and they are very powerful individuals. Not only obviously in their powers, but also in the society. They are called the elites, and she gets somehow, not telling you, she somehow gets selected for the purging trials, which is some kind of Hunger Games, but I feel like this is a lot more different than the Hunger Games, so it's not necessarily like plagiarism. Yeah, I actually really love this book. I ate it up, same as the second one, and the third one, it's gonna come out April, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember exactly the date, but the third one comes in April. So if you want to start the series, if you weren't sure if you wanted to read the series, it's perfect timing to start it now, because you'll read the first one, the second one, the novella, or after the first one you can read the novella. I have now read the novella, and then you will read the third book as soon as it comes out. So I feel like that's a really nice thing. And last but not least, I picked Divine Rivals, which is so underrated. It's criminally underrated on Book Talk. Everyone knows the crawling back to you trend that's like going on TikTok right now with Hosier. This is the book that I think of every time I hear that song. So basically, after centuries of the gods in this world like being asleep, they wake, are at war as soon as they wake up, and basically the gods are manipulating people to be either on one side or the other side. And the main character's brother is obviously going to war because he apparently got called by this goddess to aid her in the war. The main character, Iris, writes letters to her brother that somehow disappeared through her closet, and she thinks like, oh, my typewriter is magical, these letters are reaching my brother. No, they were reaching a different person. But if you guys want to know who the letters were reaching, you will have to read the book, because I'm not going to tell you. If I keep on talking about these books, I'm going to end up spoiling things for you guys, and I don't want to do that. So thank you guys so much for watching my video and listening to me once again rant about books. Let me know what kind of other content you guys would like to see from me, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!